Man, I gotta say, I'm thoroughly impressed. Thoroughly impressed. So if you followed this channel for any amount of time, you know that we bought a 1993 Chevrolet S10. And this thing's got a carburetor issue, so I took it across the street to the shop, it's like a quarter mile down the street. So the alternator's bad on it, which I knew that. I had charged the battery, and I was just assuming that, hey, you know, if it starts to die, just hook the jump box up to it while y'all are fixing the carburetor, because I know exactly diddly squat about working on a carburetor. I don't know anything about it. I'll just be honest with you. No clue. So anyways, I took it over there, and it's been sitting for like 2-3 weeks, and there's a breakdown in communication. I think they assumed that I was going to buy an alternator for them to put an alternator on. Now, I can put an alternator on myself. It's easy. You just disconnect the belt, unbolt the thing, put the new one on, put everything back together. Simple. I didn't need them to do that. I just wanted them to make the thing run, because whatever's wrong with the carburetors, preventing that from happening. So anyways, rather than just getting a pissing contest with them, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get the truck and bring it back over to the house. I'll get the alternator put back on, and then we'll bring it back for y'all to fix the carb issue so she'll run. But I was nervous about driving it back, because I can drive stick, but man, it's been a long time since I've driven stick, and with that thing not running worth the flip, excuse me, I just got my mother-in-law to come over there with me, because she drives stick all the time, and so my wife and I, we went over to the shop, and I was going to follow my mother-in-law back, because the truck also doesn't have it. I just followed her back. Just ignore that. So anyways, I was assuming that she was going to have issues, because that thing will not run. When I took it over there, it was all I could do to keep it from shutting off in the middle of the road. You have to drive with 3 feet, basically. You know, the brakes are kind of not great. So anyways, I'm following her back over from the shop, and she's just booking it, man. She got that thing up in the 3rd gear, and we're talking about a quarter mile from the house. I think she was wanting to see what it would do, and ran pretty good. I was thoroughly impressed. My mother-in-law's like in her 60s. I'm not saying that I had any doubts that she could drive the truck. I guess we know now that the truck actually does run pretty good. We haven't been able to stretch its legs or anything because of, you know, the issues that it has. Hey, awesome. Now it's back home. Now I can start working on it myself rather than paying the goon squad across the street to do it. So anyways, if you enjoy listening to me talk about motorsports, cars, family, anything else I feel like talking about, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications. The works. If you're interested in diecast cars, t-shirts, hats, auto parts, home decor, women's clothing, kids clothing, lamps, lamp shades. Everybody's got to have a good lampshade, right? Because I mean, lamps are awesome. Let's be real. The reason you can see me right now is because of a lamp. They're handy. I think so anyways. Check out our eBay if you're interested. The link is in the description. We have a sale going on right now. And if you find something you're interested in, shoot me an offer. In all likelihood, I will not say no, you know, unless it's like 50 cents for a car door, then obviously. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. So big news. Well, I'd say news. It may actually just be rumor right now. But, you know, where there's smoke, there's typically fire. 2008 was the last year that WRC ran, where they used the Monaco GP circuit as part of their rally for Monte Carlo. Rumor has it, rumor on the street is that certain sections of that track will make a comeback. Certain parts of it will for the rally next year. I think that's fantastic. You know what's even better than that is the fact that the GP, the Formula One Grand Prix, is unbelievably boring at Monaco. We all know that. That's not a secret. I don't think that's going to hurt anybody's feelings by saying that. I love the race, just, from a historic perspective and from being a race fan. I could watch cars just go around there and parade laps all day long and still find enjoyment, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's boring. WRC, there's nothing about WRC that's boring, in my opinion. Rally, to me, is the top form of motorsport on the planet. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can watch this video. WRC uploaded it the other day. It is of Ott Tanik. It's on board from the rally last weekend, I think it was. And just the amount of concentration that it requires for you to be able to navigate those cars through the wilderness, through the middle of the woods or a forest or whatever, and keep it on the road at top speed, man. You're talking like 130 mile an hour down some little country road in the middle of nowhere, Europe. One mistake and you're going to be into a tree. And guess what? Trees don't give. This is not like hitting a retaining wall and you have some cushion, you ricochet off of it. No, you hit a tree, dead stop, man. And it's massively impressive because not only are you trying to navigate that car and trying to keep it on the road, but you've got a guy, your co-driver, in your ear the whole time, navigating for you, telling you what's coming up. And so I know they do the recce, which is the reconnaissance routes and stuff before the rally starts. And they go over the notes and stuff together before the rally actually starts. But nevertheless, it's impressive. I don't know that I could do it. Not at that level. I could do it in slower cars, but in a Rally 1 car, man, that is something else. And so, going to Monte Carlo, which Monte Carlo they open the season with every year, but using the GP circuit as part of the layout, that's good news. That's good news. Now, if we could just get another OEM to pony up and join the Rally 1 category, that'd be fantastic. I petition and I have petitioned and I will continue to petition and advocate for Skoda to make the step up. I think they should, they're owned by VW. This could be VW's way back in. VW was in WRC Top Flight in the early teens. Sebastian Ogier and Mickelson were their drivers, and they were unbeatable. And then Dieselgate happened, and I don't know if y'all remember that, but Dieselgate happened with Volkswagen, and they ended up pulling out of the sport. But Skoda has always remained, but they've been in Rally 2, and so I think the step up to Rally 1 would be awesome, number one, and I think they could be successful. With all of VW's backing and support and money. Why not? Why wouldn't they be able to be successful? There's no reason. You're only running against Ford, Hyundai, or Hyundai and Toyota. So yeah, come on. Also, I want to throw this out there because a lot of people that watch this channel are from America, so you may not be familiar with it. I know I have some folks from abroad that watch as well, but to my European viewer, my American viewers, if you haven't heard of the ETRC yet, I highly recommend checking it out. It's the European Truck Racing Championship, and they race, you'd call them lorries overseas. You call them semis here, or tractors, or whatever you want to call them, big trucks. And so they actually race these things in Europe, and we don't really have anything comparable, I would say, here. We do some semi-truck racing at the local level, but these are like the cab over trucks. If you don't know what that means, it's like the flat front where you're sitting over the engine, because the European laws with lorries and semi-trucks is quite a bit different than what we have here. That's why if you'll look at the trucks going down the road in America, 9 times out of 10 they've got the engine out in front of them. But over there, they're the cab over, you're sitting on top of them. But anyways, that's what they race. And I guess the best way to explain it is if you're familiar with touring car racing of any kind, the BTCC, British Touring Car Championship, or any of the stuff that they do in Africa, the Brazilian stock car racing series, I know they call it stock cars, but it's essentially touring cars as well. That's what these trucks are. It's just, they're semi-trucks. And it's really, really cool, but the problem I have is that they don't get nearly the attention that they should. You go to their X page and it's like few and far between, like people are not really interacting. We need to change that. And then once they start getting more recognition and attention, then we need to start advocating for them to either run a race over here or for our own series in America. Because I think it would be popular. Who doesn't love semi-trucks, man? They're awesome. And like I said, I know we've got some stuff over here, but to have a legitimate, like an FIA sanctioned series, which is what the ETRC is, that would be cool. If you haven't noticed online over the past, past day or two, we had the situation with Larry Mack and Danielle Trotta. I've addressed that already, where they were talking about Mark Martin. They claimed that they weren't talking about Mark, but it's already been essentially proven that they were on their radio show about the playoffs, and they're giving Mark a hard time. But what's happened since then is the conversation, it's been like a firestorm online. Everyone's talking about it now. And they're not so much talking about the fact that those two were being rude to Mark. Everyone's talking about the fact now that the playoffs are silly and garbage and they should go away. Brett Griffin brought it up and talked about it. Now he thinks he's kind of like Dale Jr. And I don't have a problem with these guys thinking what they think. You think whatever you want to. To each their own. They think that we should still keep playoffs but go back to like the chase format, the original chase format, which I'm kind of okay with that. It's not a big deal. I honestly, looking back when I was younger and they brought that in 2004, I didn't have a problem with that format. I mean, then they started tinkering with it, because TV wanted things to be different and so on and so forth, and then we've ended up with what we have now. But my point being is that Brett Griffin, he brought it up, was talking about things need to change, and he kind of gave us a glimpse behind the scenes, with the Drivers' Council or the Playoff Council or whatever you want to call it. But Chase Elliott has actually made a statement about it, and he said that we should go back to a full season format. He said, and he made a good point, and I'm not saying this, I've never really been a Chase Elliott fan. Nothing against him. I don't have anything personal against him. It's just I never jumped on that bandwagon. I mean, he's a good driver and he's a cool kid, but like I said, I've just never gravitated to him for whatever reason. So I'm not biased when I'm telling you the story and what he said, but he said that the regular season championship comes down to Daytona, and like the first couple of guys that are in the hunt for that are usually pretty close in points. So it kind of, that race actually dictates who wins the regular season championship. Now, obviously, it'll be a little bit different if you continue on from there with 10 more races or however many it is. But his point is that obviously you don't need playoffs or whatever, because the regular season championship over the past 2-3 years has come down to that final race. So, we're not ball sports, we're motorsports. And I think that was what he said. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's more or less what he was saying. And then Brad Keselowski also came out and made a comment, and he said that the parity with the Gen 7, I'm assuming he's talking about the OEM parity between Toyota, Ford, and Chevrolet, it's kind of being overshadowed by the playoffs. You don't actually get a good taste of what these guys are being able to do in these cars, because the focus is on the playoffs. Now, my point with that is that he's right. I mean, he's not wrong at all. But you can also apply that to something else as well, and that is the races. The races don't mean anything. I mean, aside from playoff berths and advancements. Now, personally, to the drivers or whatever, it may mean something. But from a fan's perspective, they don't really mean anything other than an advancement or a berth in the playoffs. Because when a guy goes out and wins Daytona, and I think I may have mentioned this already, but it's still applicable. If a guy wins Daytona at the beginning of the season, and he gets out of the car, and one of the first things the reporters ask him is, well, how does this change your season now that you're locked into the playoffs? How do you race from here on out? That's a problem. You know, that shouldn't be the way that it is. Back in the day when I was a kid, man, if somebody won the Daytona 500, that was huge. Huge. I remember when Ward won it in 2002. That was a big freaking deal. And no one was talking about the championship. We're just talking about the simple fact that you just won the Daytona 500. You know? Or back when Darrell won, we all know the footage where he was doing the what is it, the Icky Shuffle or whatever in Victory Lane, and it was just a different atmosphere, a different feel. And I did talk about this already, and speaking of Ward, Jeb, his son, also made a similar comment advocating for full season playoffs, or full season championship, excuse me. What I love is the fact that since this has basically gone viral within the motorsports community, everything that happened this week, that now guys are coming out and publicly stating that, yeah, we'd be all in on a full season championship. Totally. Let's do that. As opposed to being nervous about saying something out of fear of retribution from NASCAR, the sanctioning body, which we all know. The sanctioning body is not... They don't want these guys saying what they actually think. That was proven during the Mexico race weekend. Agree with what they said or not, the point remains valid. Carson Hocevar was fined $50,000 from Spire, and then Tab Boyd was fired from Hayek. Both of those actions came at the behest of NASCAR. Spire actually admitted it in their public, their PR release, that they spoke with NASCAR and made sure that the penalty was adequate for NASCAR. So, you know, if that's going to happen, then obviously if you come out and you bash their playoff system, my God, what do you think's going to happen then? You know, they'll just do the same thing. They'll force the team to fine you and then say that it was the team's decision, when we all know it's not. It's NASCAR. But if enough guys come out and say something, say a similar deal, you can't penalize everybody. I mean, I guess you can, but that would be really, really, really bad optics, in my personal opinion. So I think now that the ball's rolling, everyone needs to do what we normally don't do, and I say we collectively, which is we need to keep our eye on the ball. Don't let off the gas. Keep talking about it. Keep bringing it up. You know, if you'll think back, I think it was earlier this year, everyone was complaining about the race car, the Gen 7. Everyone was super vocal about it. Over and over and over and over again, you'd see people talking about it. But then NASCAR diverted everyone's attention with talks about the schedule and racetracks and all this other kind of nonsense that is, although it may be important, there are far greater things that need to be addressed before we worry about which tracks we're going to. You know, what tracks we race on wouldn't be an issue as much if we'd fix the race car. If the race car raced well, then what does it matter about the circuit? We don't care about the circuit. We just want to see good racing. And everyone, you know, kind of let their eye off the ball with that, and now NASCAR doesn't even mention it. Oh, what, the car? The car? You want us to fix? We're going to San Diego. What about that? You know, it's that kind of thing. It's just so annoying. So I think as far as the playoff conversation goes, the points system conversation, stay on it, man. Don't let up. Keep saying stuff. Keep bringing it up. Jump on their Twitter, you know, in the comment section, even if it's a video that's got nothing to do with it. Keep talking about it. Don't be hateful. Don't just jump on there and be rude, you know. Be nice about it, be cordial, but just don't let it up. Don't let go of it. Don't lose sight. And that's it. Anyways, if you enjoy listening to me ramble about motorsports, cars, anything else I feel like talking about, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications. If you're interested in diecast cars, t-shirts, hats, home decor, auto parts, anything like that, check out our eBay. The link is in the description. I have the hardest time saying that for some reason. The link is in the description. I mean, I just have to go slow like I'm 90 every time I say it. No offense to anyone who's 90, by the way. You're awesome. And it's an achievement to make it to 90. So, not throwing shade at all. Anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. Until next time, we'll see you. God bless. Peace.